Typically, on the onset of the construction project, the contractor have to submit an initial schedule to the owner. That initial schedule is approved by the owner. It becomes the project baseline. As the project moves forward, it becomes the basis for evaluating the progress of the project. But what is a baseline? Let us go to the ABC definition of the baseline schedule. A baseline schedule is a fixed project schedule that reflects all formally authorized scope and schedule changes against which the project performance is measured. Now this statement seems quite complex. Let us try to crack down it into simple words. A schedule baseline is the approved, time-phased and logically linked activities, detailed interpretation of the project execution plan. If we take into this statement, we know that baseline schedule must be approved by the client, by the contractor and the other stakeholders. Now the second is work must be time-phased. The work execution plan must be laid down with reference to some dates, some calendar, some working hours, deriving the start of the project date and end of the project date, while logically linking the entire work which has to be done to deliver the project. Now along with this, our schedule may be resource loaded and it includes the entire project scope of the work. Now the question arises, a baseline schedule, is it necessary to be resources loaded? It is not mandatory to have a resource loaded or the cost loaded baseline schedule. But what is mandatory is that it includes all the entire work of the project. Baseline is a special copy or a snapshot of the original schedule. And then it stores the snapshot such that you cannot edit it. We can say it is static. As you progressing your current schedule, you can overlay the baseline schedule to compare the performance to your baseline. A baseline not only stores the dates and schedule, it also stores the cost and the resources associated with the schedule. With this additional data, you can also compare your current resource usage with the planned baseline resource usage. And the spending to the baseline plan can be compared, so you can easily evaluate whether your project is ahead or behind the baseline schedule.
Now let us begin with the development of the baseline schedule in a sample project. Here we have already defined the activities, logically linked each activity with its predecessor and successor, and also we have defined the resources based on the project requirement and estimated the budget, a rough budget for the project. Now since each of the crucial step in the development of the schedule is been done, now we are in a position to develop a baseline schedule. Now you have to go to the project, select the set baseline. A baseline is a snapshot of your schedule which allow you to compare. So on a 0th day, the schedule can be known as the baseline 1. So you can also provide the name to the baseline based on its date or maybe based on its revision. You can also select whether you want the entire project to be set as a baseline or a part of it. So we have selected the entire project. So our baseline is created. Now we want to reflect our baseline date on the main screen, for which we have to add two columns. One is the baseline start date and another one is the baseline finish date. In Microsoft Project, we can create multiple baselines. So this is the baseline 1 that we have created, or we can say revision 0. So now we will activate baseline duration, baseline start and baseline finish date on the main screen. Now we have the baseline versus actual status on the screen. Now since the progress has been not updated, That's why the baseline dates and the start and the finish actual dates are similar. You can also modify the bar chart layout or the Gantt chart layout. Now go to the Gantt chart and select the tracking Gantt. Now once you select the tracking Gantt, you will see the two bar chart for each activity. One will reflect the baseline bar chart and other will reflect the actual bar chart. When the progress is not updated, both will overlap each other. But once you start updating the progress, then you can easily compare whether the project is going behind schedule or ahead schedule. For example, let us change a single activity. Now here you can see, as we update the progress, the actual start and finish date will change, but the baseline date is fixed, because baseline is a snapshot of a particular stage of the project. So this baseline one is the snapshot of the initial schedule or the revision 0 schedule. In this way, we can create a baseline. Now once the baseline is created and the progress is being updated, then you can again set the next schedule as the baseline. So the revision of a schedule once the progress has been updated can be set as the baseline too. In MSP, more than 10 baseline you can set at a particular point of time. However, in Primavera, allow you to set infinite number of baselines. Also, you can modify how you want your baseline and the actual progress to look through this bar style option. So based on your requirement or the graphical representation, you can make the modification for the easy interpretation of the bar chart and to understand the project status through a graphical representation. Also, if you want to reflect the name of the activity, on the left side you can select name. Here you can see we have activated the name of the activity on the left side of the bar, making the entire bar chart reading much more convenient for the user. So this is a trackable Gantt chart. Here you can see that based on the progress updation, the Gantt chart will change accordingly, and it will make the comparison between the planned progress and the actual progress very convenient for the user and very easy to understand. Now once the progress of each of the activity is updated, at any point of time we can set a baseline. So suppose after 1 month you updated a progress, then again you can go to the set baseline and you can see the previous baseline and you can also set the new baseline. So when we click OK, then we will have two baselines. One will be the revision 0 or on the 0th day, and second one will be on the first month. So now it's your turn to showcase your skill and create a baseline schedule.